If you run a business, I can almost guarantee that you've been hit up by these AI bros, as I call them, promoting how amazing AI is and how your business is going to fail without using artificial intelligence. Now, all these people are, of course, selling something. So before moving ahead, I decided to test AI, ChatGPT specifically, on knowledge of our industry, which is the world of franchise. So I headed over to ChatGPT and I presented it with a simple single question. What are the best top 10 franchises? And quickly got a something went wrong message. Maybe ChatGPT knew that it was me and it didn't want to get a bad review. So I refresh the page and I try again, and we get these results: Marvel Cinematic Universe, Pokemon, Star Wars, James Bond, Call of Duty, and Disney princesses. Now, while I might agree with some of those at face value, not exactly what we were looking for. So let's try this again and be more specific. What are the best top 10 franchise opportunities? Now, we initially at least get some very good information. Research the franchise, look into the franchise's track record, business model, franchisee support, and financial requirements before investing. Seek advice from experts. Consult with a franchise attorney, financial advisor, or business consultant before making a decision. So basically, call franchisecity. Consider your interests, choose a franchise that aligns with your skills, experience, and interests, assess the market, analyze the demand for the franchise in your area, and research competitors. Now, this is all great information until ChatGPT tries to give us some examples in its own created top 10 list. Now, spoiler alert, this list is absolutely terrible. Number 2 in its top 10 best franchises selections is 7-Eleven. Now, this is a franchise with terrible franchisee satisfaction. In fact, 9 out of 10 7-Eleven franchise owners say that owning a 7-Eleven has had a negative impact on their health. 7-Eleven is not highly profitable. That's why you see many owners working in their stores. Their royalties exceed 50% and they increase the more money that you make. There's multiple other problems. We've covered them here on the channel, and I'll place a link at the end of the video if you're interested in that. Now, number 3 on the AI-generated top 10 franchise list is Subway. This is a franchise that has closed thousands of stores over the past few years. They reportedly closed as many as 2,400 stores in 2020 alone and lost nearly $120 billion in sales during the onset of the pandemic. Now, until recently, Subway had the second lowest revenues of all major franchises on the QSR 50 at $375,000. They've been doing better lately. Admittedly, we did a video on that recently, but they've, up until very recently, were the second lowest on the list. And they're still not that high. H&R Block, we've also covered here on the channel. Look at how many franchise locations have closed in the H&R Block system over the past 3 years. Now, McDonald's, they're a strong brand. They've got decent profits, but they've got a pretty saturated market, and most of their great premium territories are already gone, have been gone for years, and McDonald's also costs over $1 million to open a location. Basically, every franchise on this list has been chosen for all the wrong reasons. And I can see the rationale behind why ChatGPT did what it did. They focused heavily on number of locations, extrapolating from that if this is a good investment opportunity. Now, 7-Eleven has 70,000 locations, Subway 44,000, Pizza Hut 18,000. But number of locations can actually be a bad thing for you as a buyer, as the market is very likely saturated. And the average store earnings, if you look at these super mature systems, can be lower than that of an emerging brand. Every situation different, but this is not a good list. Now, even when we tried a more specific search, what are the top 10 most profitable franchises presented to ChatGPT, we get another error message. We have to refresh the page, but take a look at this new list. Subway, again, one of the lowest earning franchises on the QSR 50 that has closed thousands of stores, made it to the list again. Now, Remax is listed. They don't even include any earnings in their disclosure documentation. That's generally not a good sign. If a franchise is making a ton of money, their franchisee is doing well, they typically are going to list their financials. Remax also has closed almost 250 locations over the past 3 years. 7-Eleven again made the list. We covered the problems with that previously. Certainly not the top 10 most profitable. Now, McDonald's, as we previously mentioned, decently profitable franchise, but is it, as ChatGPT suggests, one of the most profitable franchises in the world? Now, as of their latest FDD, 80% of McDonald's restaurants had average sales volumes in excess of 2.7 million, 74% had annual sales volumes in excess of 2.9 million, and approximately 66% of their locations had annual sales volumes in excess of 3.1 million. Now, their highest earning location did 16,757,000. That's quite an increase from prior years. The year before, it was just over 10 million. The year before that, during the pandemic, around $9 million. Now, those are certainly decent numbers, but remember, opening McDonald's is going to cost you between $1.4 to $2.5 million to open. And even they have been closing stores over the last few years, perhaps as a result of increasing market saturation. Now, just off the top of my head, I've seen much more profitable franchises. One, I'll mention, we've covered it here on the channel before, in the senior care space, whose most profitable unit was doing an incredible $55 million a year. And this brand is only a $150,000 investment. Now, none of these franchises that are listed by ChatGPT even come close to that number. And the most profitable franchise, the one that I'm thinking of at 55 million, that one is not even mentioned. So why does artificial intelligence get everything so wrong? Well, in fairness to ChatGPT, they seemingly are relying on these same old, very bad and very incorrect lists on franchising that everyone posts online. One company puts the list out, then everybody copies that list, everybody on and on and on. So if you start with a bad list, you end up with increasingly bad lists. Now, this includes mainstream media outlets like the Franchise 500. We've previously called out their terrible list that also includes Subway, by the way, right here on the channel before, and I'll post a link somewhere in the description box. Now, these lists are using very rudimentary data, most of it not remotely even relevant to a franchise buyer to make their selections. The data that is relevant is generally hidden away in the franchise disclosure documents of the franchises themselves, which are quite difficult to obtain even for AI. And even if you have the data, there are subtle nuances like regional variances in earnings, upcoming competition, and especially important things that are specific to a buyer, like your unique skills, your market demand, your demographics, operational preferences, and a whole lot more. Sellers of these AI solutions suggest you can just click a button and pump out hundreds of contextual articles and video content that you could post online that's going to help your business. But given these results, I think we're going to stick to the old-fashioned way for now. Maybe one day it will improve, but right now, these results were absolutely terrible. We prefer to have quality over quantity, and I hope you folks appreciate that. Now, I've put the links down below for the 7-Eleven franchise, Subway franchise, why Franchise 500 list is not the greatest. Down below in the description box, I'll post a few around the video here. And if you need human help finding a franchise, call the experts at Franchisecity. I'll put that link above. Thanks very much for watching.
You are listening to Franchisecity, a better way to buy franchise.